This is not the rarest Pokemon card in the world. It's not the Umbreon Alternate Art either, nor is it the PSA 10 Neo Lugia, a tough card to find in immaculate condition. A year ago, I realized it's none of these because the hardest card to find should be a card that you have to earn through blood, sweat, and tears, through sacrifice, and there's only one card like that in the world. The No.1 Trainer Card, a card that you can only find by winning the Pokemon World Championships, the biggest Pokemon card tournament in the world, this year being held in Japan. But to get there, you've got to qualify first. Now, for some people, qualifying is as easy as winning a local regional championship in your first season. And I'm proud to say I'm not that guy yet. No, for me, it means traveling halfway across the world to London to enter the European International Championship, where I'll be able to lock in my invite to Worlds. That's if I get at least 6 wins over 9 rounds. A long day of Pokemon cards that tests both your wits and your mental endurance in a place far from home. It's going to take a lot of practice, dedication, and sacrifice. After all, I've only been playing the Pokemon TCG for under a year, but I'm not alone, which is why the first thing I did when I got to London was meet up with friends.
I'm here in Brotherhood Games. I'm with Tim Danklin. How you going, Tim?
I'm currently in the bin.
He had food poisoning too.
To delay my flights by 2 days, but I made it.
There's also Ryan.
Ryan, what's going on?
How's it going?
Good. What are you doing?
I'm brainwaving for the knockout.
Brainwave is the attack of Gardevoir, also known as Baby Gardevoir, that hits for base 60 damage plus 30 for each psychic energy attached, but more on that later.
What a Chad. Chad move.
And of course, Josh Sparksy.
How you going, bro?
I'm so good, man.
You having a fun time in London so far?
Yes, I am. So many Tesco meal deals, man.
We decided to open packs and search for Mawile, a Pokemon with the attack Tempting Trap, which, upon attacking, prevents the defending Pokemon from retreating. An insane tech card, useful in both the Lugia and Gardevoir matchup, both decks which typically don't play Escape Rope. Cards like Mawile are what we call spikes, something that my Lost Zone deck needed. See, back in February, I earned 100 championship points at OCIC, bringing me halfway to my Worlds invite. Now, the deck is great. 4 Comfy and Greninja to draw cards, that's what we call an engine, alongside 4 Colress, 2 Sableye, Cramorant, Manaphy, and a bunch of others. But with the format changing thanks to the release of Scarlet Violet, I needed something that would give my deck an edge and bring me closer to winning that No.1 Trainer Card. But finding Mawile was a complete failure.
These were out here.
And opening packs wasn't going to make this deck better. Practice was. So with all the Aussies assembled in London, it was time for some playtesting. An integral part of tournament preparation. You see, in playtesting, winning or losing doesn't matter. It's about players grouping up, trialing new ideas, and psyching each other up for the big day. Fortunately, I was testing with some of the best, like Australia's 3rd ranked player, Matty Burris.
What are you cooking?
Man, I don't know what I'm cooking here, man. Oh, wait, that was crazy, that gift.
How can gift energy be so crazy, Matty? Probably because when the Pokemon it's attached to is knocked out, you're able to draw cards until you have 7 in your hand. Incredibly useful in Lugia. There's also Brent Tonneson, ranked 1st in Australia with multiple tournament cuts. Basically means making top 8 and even regional wins. Yet despite those achievements, he's still down horrendous.
Brent, what are you cooking?
Hell.
You're not cragging.
No, I've already cracked this game.
Cragalanche is a nightmare attack for any Lost Box player. With the plus 20 damage thanks to single strike energy, it's enough to KO your Comfy. But even worse, it forces your opponent to discard 2 cards from the top of their deck, which are almost always important items you need, like your competitor pass. You absolutely need this to enter the event and play, which is why you pick it up the night before a check-in. By this point, you should be mentally ready to play, just like top 4 Worlds finalist James Cox.
How you feeling, James?
Feeling good?
How you feeling about the event?
Yeah, feeling confident, feeling good, feeling great. Happy with my deck choice. It'll be good.
Man, a few words.
With that parting wisdom, it's time to get my pass and swag.
That's it. Quick and easy.
Now, there's a surprising amount of collectors here trading before the IC officially kicks off, and there's probably going to be way more in Yokohama, Japan. And one of those people could be you, because if you made it this far, I'm giving away a ticket to Japan and a World Spectator Pass too. You've got a week to enter and probably a week to decide. It's a whirlwind, but that's how I live my life. All you've got to do to enter is like, subscribe, share, and comment down below why you want to go to Worlds 2023. Then tune into the live stream next week and see if you've won. But enough of that. With just 12 hours to go, I still needed to finalize my deck list, ultimately landing on Turbo Lost Box. This was it. With just the right amount of spice thanks to Forest Sealstone and consistency so that I can actually get set up, I had what I needed for a deep tournament finish and my invite to the World Championships. The tournament starts at 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow, so it's imperative we get a good night's sleep and make it on time.
Getting ready to go to bed, except those 2 are still gammon.
Yeah, I go to bed till 2 a.m.
So that's it. See you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Jim. Goodbye.
See ya.
Oh, the enthusiasm. Virus, say goodbye.
Later, skater.
Say see you later, Brent.
Peace.
Today, the big event. It is now EUIC day 1, walking across to the venue here in London, and this is why London sucks. It started drizzling, then it started pouring, now it's stopped. I got wet. Thank you. No matter what I say here, I'm gonna get it wrong. The River Thames, River Time, and this is the XL Center. This is where we're gonna be playing today. Same deal as OCIC, 9 rounds of Swiss, and day 2 if you make 19 points. So yeah, a little bit of pressure today. That's tournament life, that's competitive scene, but I feel good. And my girlfriend said, just have fun. So I'm just gonna do that. Oh yeah, and I better thank my girlfriend for being so supportive. Love you, baby.
The current time is 8:20 a.m. Still 40 minutes until round 1 commences. And as you can tell, it's packed.
Big line, a lot of people.
And it was at this point that I realized I traveled 16,893 kilometers just to make a critical misplay.
Oh my God.
Remember that competitor pass I was talking about earlier? The one I needed to get into the venue? Yeah. I forgot it. All that work, all that preparation. I've fumbled some bags in my time, but my invites at Worlds and the #1 trainer card, this was by far the biggest. I had just 40 minutes to cross the River Thames, run back to my Airbnb, grab my pass, run back across the river, and get in my seat by 9 a.m., which by some miracle I did. More like Max Miracle, am I right? Because round 1 had me facing off against Mew VMAX, a simple deck to pilot. You find a Mew ASAP, play down Genesect, and use its ability Fusion Strike system to draw more cards. The more Fusion Strike Pokemon you have in play, the more cards that you can draw. So that's what that little symbol means. But Mew has one fatal flaw, Drapion V, which one-hit KOs Mew VMAX thanks to its ability Wild Style, reducing the energy cost for each Fusion Strike Pokemon your opponent has in play, the Genesect, letting you instantly claim 3 prizes, and boy was I glad I played Drapion today. Unfortunately, in game 1, I made a critical error. During my turn 1, I didn't play down Cramorant, which seems minor, but there was a high chance my opponent was going to play Judge, which forces each player to shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 4 new cards. The problem is that Cramorant is one card I don't want to draw again. And so after Judge, my hand bricked. There were no cards for me to play. So after a few turns, I scoop. That means concede, but TCG rounds are best of 3. So we started game 2, and after a few KOs on my end, I found the Drapion to win the game. But despite taking that dub, we both took too long to play these games out and couldn't finish game 3, which meant this round was a tie. But round 2 was a new beginning against a deck I despise, Hisuian Goodra V-Star, which heals itself with the V-Star ability Moisture Star, and its attack, Rolling Iron, means all damage it receives thereafter is reduced by 80. So it is imperative that this thing does not attack you. Its engine relies on the Lost Zone. Cards like Comfey with the ability Flower Selecting, draw 2 cards and send 1 to the Lost Zone, and Coldress's Experiment, draw 5 cards and send 2 to the Lost Zone. So being a Lost Box player myself meant I knew how this deck operated. I had to take KOs before the Goodra could attack, and so that's what I did. Thanks to Radiant Greninja, I rapidly crushed my opponent's engine, powering up Greninja with Mirage Gate, which lets you attach 2 different energy from your deck to any Pokemon in any way you like, thus knocking out 2 Comfey at once with the attack Moonlight Shuriken. And I did this in both games, giving me the win, the confidence I needed to kickstart my day, and a break to walk around and show you guys EUIC.
Hello and welcome to EUIC. Finally here at the venue. And you can see the XL is just completely decked out. It's such an awesome venue. You got Pikachu up there in the sky. There are so many players here. Like this fellow here. This is Jonas. He's from my Discord server.
I've been playing for like a year now. Probably gonna quit playing soon to be a judge.
Which country are you from?
Germany.
You'll get players from all around the European region.
Just like my round 3 opponent who traveled all the way from Italy, a region I'd conquer soon enough. But for now, I was facing up against Gardevoir EX, one of the strongest decks in the game. With Curlier's ability Refinement, discard 1 card and draw 2, Baby Gardevoir's ability Shining Arcana, draw 2, and if energy, attach in any way you like, and the new Gardevoir EX with the ability Psychic Embrace. Attach Psychic energy from your discard to any Psychic Pokemon as much as you like during your turn. Just place 2 damage counters for each energy you attach. This round exposed my lack of preparation because my opponent also played Espeon VMAX, and its ability Solar Revelation made it difficult for me to place damage counters with Sableye Lost Mine. But it wasn't even that. No, it was the very presence of Espeon VMAX and my inability to deal with it on the spot that caused me to completely shut down. Fortunately, I was lucky to escape escape this round with another tie, but by round 3, I was close to being broken, which was a devastating position to be in, especially heading into round 4 against another Hisuian Gudra V-Star. But I dealt with this earlier, so I figured, hey, just do the same thing. And I did, eliminating the Comfy and halting my opponent's draw support. But they played Melanie, which lets you attach 1 water energy from your discard to a V Pokemon and draw 3. And so with manual energy attachments, 1 per turn from hand, my opponent was able to power up Gudra V-Star. And that manual energy attachment, V-Guard Energy, meaning my V Pokemon's attacks were going to do 30 less damage. There was no way for me to win game 1, so I scooped. And in game 2, I slowly built up damage across 2 Gudra instead of 1, forcing my opponent to decide which one would they heal with Moisture Star, the active Gudra or the benched. In the end, they chose the bench Gudra and attacked with Rolling Iron, putting the active Gudra out of reach of my Dragonite V's attack, Dragon Gale. With time called, I had to push for one last play. Rope Boss. Because Escape Rope actually resets the effect of Gudra's attack, meaning that 80 damage reduction is gone. But to win, I had to KO the Gudra I sent to the bench. Enter Boss's orders. Select one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and switch them into the active. This turn was huge, so I had to sequence it properly. First, using Flower Selecting, finding the Boss's orders, then playing down the Dragonite V and attaching 1 water energy to it, using Mirage Gate to attach the other water and lightning energy from my deck, and then Escape Rope, forcing my opponent to switch their Pokemon and reset the effect of Rolling Iron, while simultaneously promoting my Dragonite V, to then finally drag the damaged Gudra V-Star back into the active for the knockout, securing the game 2 win for the tie. Damn it, this put me at 1 win, 3 ties to start the day, meaning I had to win all my remaining rounds in order to make day 2, secure my world invite, and start the chase for the #1 trainer card. And thankfully, round 5 was the easiest, because my opponent dropped. They literally just left the tournament. But in my opinion, you should never leave a tournament early, because every game is an opportunity to grow and meet new people, like the legend
Andrew. I go by American Dad online. I play Pokemon. Been doing it for 13 years, so got into it in 2009, found some old cards, wanted to see what they were worth, went to the card shop, learned that there's this whole competitive circuit. Fell in love.
Have you got any tips for new players that are coming into the game?
Make friends. You know, get a good testing group going, flow ideas. You know, don't be afraid to try something new. I think having a good test partner is very important, and fortunately I have that.
What's his name?
Michael Premawat.
And he's out there competing right now in day 2, yeah?
Yep.
who, despite playing Mew VMAX, thankfully wasn't my round 6 opponent. It was, however, the deck that I faced off against in round 1. So what did we learn last time? Playing cards down is good. Drapion is also good. And too many slow games means a tie, which is why I scooped game 1 almost instantly. With no board setup, I knew it was in my best interest to just go next, which was wise, because in game 2, my opponent was only able to get 1 Mew V out into play. All I had to do was knock this thing out and the game was mine. And eventually, I found the Cramorant and slowly dwindled their HP down for the KO, which meant game 3 would decide it all, and it was neck and neck. I KO'd their Meloetta, and then I found the Drapion V to KO their Mew VMAX. And with no way for them to return KO the Drapion, the game was basically mine. But rounds of Pokemon are never that straightforward, because in their last turn, my opponent played down Path to the Peak, a stadium card which turns off the ability of Rulebox Pokemon, like my Drapion V, meaning Wild Style was no longer in effect. For me to win this game, I had to get rid of that Path to the Peak. And fortunately, I had Lost Vacuum in hand, an item that lets me send one of my cards to the Lost Zone and any tool or stadium in play with it, like Path. But there was one issue. They also played Roxanne that turn, forcing me to shuffle my hand back into my deck and draw just 2 cards. But I knew they were going to do this. I'd planned and prepared for moments like this. And so in the previous turn, I thinned my hand and my deck, playing cards I didn't want to see again so that I could increase my chances of drawing into Colress's Experiment during the next turn. And lo and behold, when I drew into the Colress's Experiment, and I played it down, drawing my entire deck for the Lost Vacuum and the subsequent KO, putting me at 3 wins, 0 losses, and 3 ties heading into round 7, a mirror match against the same deck I was playing, Lost Box. Now at this point, I was feeling pretty good. I could see my invite and the #1 trainer card right in front of me. The mirror match, I I know it like the back of my hand. The only way this round becomes a problem is if my opponent plays Hawlucha, which in game 1 they revealed, playing it to their bench and using the ability Flying Entry, placing 1 damage counter on 2 of my bench Pokemon, thus allowing them to spread 60 damage with Sableye Lost Mine, wiping away my Comfey and Manaphy for 2 prizes. With no way to recover the Manaphy, this game was done, and so it was on to game 2 where I was simply outplayed, and where I tragically misplayed, putting damage onto my opponent's Snorlax with Sableye, damage that was instantly negated by their ability Unfazed Fat, which protects them from the effect of attacks, thus cementing round 7 as a loss, and placing the doubt in my mind that maybe I should have played Hawlucha, a memory that I wouldn't forget anytime soon. After a few tense rounds, I needed a minute to breathe, and I was lucky enough to bump into
Pokedean.
okJLUV.
What brings you guys here?
Well, we went to Worlds last year and had an absolute blast. The turnout was absolutely crazy. It's wild.
This type of event, it doesn't happen very often in the UK, so it's nice to just bump into people and see everyone.
Yeah, since you've come here, have you thought about getting some cards in your hand?
He actually taught me how to play,
Right.
and I beat him.
Wait, that is a loose beat.
With this being the second last round of the day, my 3-1-3 record meant I could not afford to slip. Losing here meant the entire trip was for nothing, and my chance at any championship points and the #1 trainer card was gone. Fortunately, luck was on my side, because this was a favorable matchup into Giratina V-Star, another Lost Zone variant let down by the liability of Giratina V in the mirror. Because of their slower build-up, I was able to race to Sableye first, giving me free reign to lay damage on their board with Sableye's Lost Mine. And then in game 2, they bricked, drawing no real playable card, which sometimes happens. It's why we play best of 3. So while the victory felt hollow, a dub is a dub, and it was time for the final round of the day against Ryan Antonucci, a top 30 player in America and a menace behind the wheel of Lost Box. It was another mirror match, but this was it. A win here meant 80 championship points, bringing me 20 within my Worlds invite and my path to the #1 trainer card. Game 1 started evenly, but Ryan pulled ahead early, making it to Sableye first. And then I froze. Maybe it was the lack of sleep, maybe it was the lack of experience, but instead of scooping game 1 early, I held on, ultimately losing and putting my back against the wall going into game 2. I fought hard, and with barely any turns remaining, I set up a board state that simply couldn't lose. An active Sableye with energy, a bench Greninja ready to attack, no Manaphy in sight, and just 1 turn remaining for Ryan to answer. And to this day, I still don't know how he did it, but he found the boss's orders, and the energy in Mirage Gate needed to attack, and so he brought up my Dragonite V, knocking it out with his own, meaning...
Unfortunately, I lost my winning in for points, so yeah. Look, I'll be honest with you, like, it is worth it coming to play. It is fun during the day, but what I'm doing, where I'm trying to push for the invite, hinging my enjoyment of the event all on that, it puts a lot of pressure on it. And I think I did the best I could have done today without like letting the pressure of it ruin me. There's so many people around the world that have been supporting me on this journey to hit the invite for Worlds that when I lose and whiff it, I feel really bad. I feel like I've let you down, and I just want to make everyone proud. So I'm gonna go again. I'll be there at NAIC. I'll do my best to lock up my invite there. Keep working hard to become a better player. I don't think there's any shame in whiffing. It's a little bit embarrassing, but it's only over when you say it's over, when you put the cards down and start playing. So until then, you'll see me next time. Peace out. I'm okJLUV.